Welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into an incredible story about what happened when Ana de Armas and Robert Downey Jr. faced a difficult interviewer. Before we get started, let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. When Ana de Armas appeared on the Jack Palmer show alongside Robert Downey Jr. to discuss her new role in the Iron Man franchise, no one expected the night to unfold as it did. Jack Palmer, known for his provocative interview style, seemed determined to undermine Anna's casting rather than celebrate it. The studio was packed with fans eager to see the two stars, but the atmosphere quickly grew tense as Jack began his interview. The massive screen behind the stage displayed the Jack Palmer Show exclusive, The New Era of Iron Man, in crisp white letters against a black background as phones rose to capture what would become a legendary television moment. From the start, Jack made it clear he wasn't thrilled about a woman taking over the Iron Man franchise. He greeted the audience with a smile too rehearsed to be genuine, setting the tone with jokes that weren't really jokes. Iron Man, a genius who buried insecurity with technology, who built a legend out of brilliance and redemption, he announced dramatically before adding, and now he wears stilettos. The nervous laughter from the audience revealed the discomfort his words created. Anna walked onto the stage with quiet confidence, dressed all in black, tailored, sleek, and simple. There was nothing flashy about her appearance, just pure presence. Her smile remained controlled as she took her seat, already prepared for the battle that was coming. When Robert joined them, the audience erupted. His entrance was characteristic of his public persona, a perfectly tailored dark suit, designer shoes, and signature tinted glasses. His face held that familiar half-smile that had charmed audiences for decades, but there was something watchful in his eyes as he took his place beside Anna. Throughout the interview, Jack continued his barrage of gendered jokes. "Is Stark Industries serving martinis or makeovers now?" he asked, referencing the famous company from the films. "Are you training Anna in superhero moves or just sitting back while your franchise becomes a fashion statement?" he asked Robert, barely disguising his disdain. When Jack wondered if the villain count would be lower now, "Because you're multitasking between saving the world and skincare tutorials." The audience's laughter grew increasingly uncomfortable. Anna remained composed, refusing to take the bait. "I think they'll be ready for innovation," she said when asked if fans would accept her in the role. "And a spectacular save." She elegantly pointed out the flaw in Jack's perspective. "You're confusing femininity with fragility. That's your problem, not mine." When he questioned whether putting a woman at the center of the franchise might dilute its energy, Anna's response cut deep. "The only thing that dilutes a story is when it stops evolving. And maybe the problem isn't a woman taking the lead. Maybe the problem is some people thinking that heroism only has value when it's delivered by a man." Robert Downey Jr. sat beside Anna, his trademark energy momentarily contained, but clearly present. When Jack turned to him, hoping for support in his criticism, Robert instead defended Anna in the evolution of the franchise. "What made Iron Man legendary was never his gender," he explained with the precise articulation that had defined his career. "It was the intellect, the transformation, the vulnerability beneath the armor. And Anna carries that, all of it." When Jack pressed him about whether he felt uncomfortable passing the torch, Robert offered a clever metaphor. "You ever see a torch pass from one hand to another? Ever see someone say the flame lost value just because it's in a different hand?" The audience erupted in applause, recognizing the wisdom in his words. As Jack began to lose control of the interview, his questions grew more personal and offensive. He asked Anna how many producers she had to charm to get the role and made pointed comments about her accent and background. "You were cleaning houses in Cuba, right? Now you're out here cleaning out movie roles," he said with a dismissive laugh. The audience gasped at the blatant disrespect, but Anna didn't falter. "I was cleaning houses. Yes. I was also memorizing scripts between shifts," she acknowledged calmly. "I walked into auditions with the wrong shoes and the wrong accent. I got rejected more times than you've told jokes tonight, and I kept going." Her voice remained steady as she delivered the knockout line. "What scares you isn't my accent, Jack. It's the fact that a woman with it made it here without your permission." The applause thundered through the studio as half the audience rose to their feet. Jack's desperation became increasingly apparent as he struggled to regain control. He turned to Robert, suggesting he must feel like the Obi-Wan now, the wise old ghost, asking if it stings watching someone else take your spotlight. Robert removed his tinted glasses, looked directly at Jack, and with his characteristic blend of charm and incisiveness replied, "Ever see a sunset? Doesn't make it less beautiful just because night's coming." The crowd went wild, but Jack wasn't done. In a last-ditch effort, Jack noticed the sobriety chip Robert discreetly wore as a pin on his lapel, suggesting it made him look weak in Hollywood's hard-partying culture. "Aren't you worried it makes you look a little preachy, like a guy who forgot how to have fun?" he asked condescendingly. Robert touched the pin briefly, a small but significant gesture. "This pin doesn't make me weak," he replied. "It reminds me I survived." He continued with quiet conviction. "I wore this long before I made a comeback, before the premieres, before Iron Man. It wasn't part of a brand. It was what kept me standing when fame couldn't." The studio fell silent as Robert explained, "This isn't about moral superiority. It's about remembering that we're not invincible. When you lose yourself, when you fall apart in the dark, you don't look for applause. You look for something to hold on to." The audience's reaction wasn't loud cheering, but something deeper. People stood silently, some wiped away tears, others sat with hands clasped. It was the kind of moment that transcends entertainment and touches something human and vulnerable. Finally, Jack asked his last question, his voice bitter and defeated. "When it's all over, when no one remembers Robert Downey Jr. or Ana de Armas, what happens then?" The studio held its breath as Robert leaned forward slightly, removed his glasses completely, and delivered the line that would be quoted for years to come. "The question was never what they'll remember about me. The real question is what they'll remember about you." By the end of the interview, Jack's arrogance had completely crumbled. The audience stood one by one in silent respect, recognizing that they had witnessed not just an interview, but a powerful lesson about courage, dignity, and respect. Anna rose beside Robert, looked out at the crowd, and delivered her own final truth. "Being a hero isn't about gender. It's about courage." The show ended without Jack's usual closing monologue or jokes, just the lingering impact of what had been said. The man who had built a career on making others uncomfortable had finally encountered something he couldn't deflect with mockery. Authentic truth spoken with quiet conviction. As the lights dimmed and the screen faded, a simple message appeared. It's not about fame. It's not about who speaks louder. It's about the courage to speak last when it matters most. What began as an attempt to humiliate had instead become a powerful demonstration of grace under pressure. In the days that followed, clips from the interview went viral, not for the controversy Jack had hoped to create, but for the dignity with which Anna and Robert had responded to disrespect. The interview didn't just change public perception of Anna's casting, it changed how many viewed strength itself, proving that true power often speaks in the quietest voice. If you enjoyed this story about standing up for yourself with dignity and grace, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. I share new stories like this one every week, and I'd love for you to join our community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.